Welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This how-to podcast is focused on empowering you to live your best life by incorporating the principles of the law of attraction, NLP, meditation, and other spiritual teachings. I'm Jeannie Hall, a certified NLP practitioner and creative empowerment coach. Let's get you empowered. Hello and welcome to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. This is episode 2, Anticipation. And thank you so much for joining me for today's show. Today, I want to share with you a special process, and a process is basically just it basically just means that it's an exercise that'll help you to feel good. And this comes from Abraham Hicks, and it's all about anticipation and how to create positive anticipation in your life. So if you're like me and you're trying to change your life for the better, and you're looking to live the very best life you can, you're trying to be happier, healthier, wiser, all those things, it's really important that you know how to focus in a way that feels really wonderful to you, or at least as good as possible. And the reason we want to feel good, this is a law of attraction principle, is that if you're in a more negative space, you'll need to feel better because we are all deliberate creators of our own realities. And if we're feeling bad, we're creating bad. And if you feel what I'm going to call throughout this podcast, shitty crappy, and if you feel that shitty crappy all the time, then chances are that you are not living the life of your dreams. Far from it. If you are feeling shitty crappy all the time, then life is a struggle for you. Nothing comes easy for you, and you probably consider that anything you might want is out of your reach. And you may be thinking that because all of those great things that you want are out of your reach, and that's why you feel bad, but the opposite is actually true. If you feel bad, then that causes the things that you want to be blocked from your existence. By feeling shitty crappy, you've developed a whole bunch of beliefs, maybe even deep down beliefs, that are not serving you. And you may have had these beliefs your whole life, but you can change them. And the way to turn that around and to turn your life around is to change those beliefs. Now, I remember having a conversation with someone about this, and I told them, it's your beliefs that create your reality. And she told me that her beliefs were the truth, and therefore could not be changed. She was kind of arguing with me. And because she believed this so strongly, she was right. She believed her limited finances wouldn't change, and that her ill health wouldn't change, and that she had no control over her future. Talk about shitty crappy. That's exactly how that feels. And that's how she was living her life, and that's the result she was getting. And what this lady did not understand was that she was and is in control of her beliefs. Because, of course, all our beliefs are thoughts that we think over and over. A sentence in your head that you think over and over. If you do it for long enough, it becomes your belief. And therefore, she could, if she wished, change her beliefs at any time. Any of us can. And what I'm going to share with you today is a way to create positive anticipation for your future by changing some beliefs. And this process is called a focus wheel. It's an Abraham Hicks process. And what you'll do is you'll draw a circle. It can be on a piece of paper, on a chalkboard. You can even write on a sidewalk with chalk, whatever you want to do. But you draw a circle in the middle, a big circle, and then you'll create 10 to 12 smaller circles going around it. And you'll want to leave enough room in each of the circles to write at least a sentence in or an idea in. So make sure you leave yourself enough room depending on how big your handwriting is. And there are 2 basic belief components that are essential to this focus wheel of anticipation. And those 2 ideas are I want and I'm willing. Those are the crux of the issue. You have to know what you want, first of all, and you have to be willing to expand those beliefs when necessary. So as you go through the creation of this wheel, remember those 2 ideas throughout. I want and I'm willing. Now look at the largest circle in the center, right in the middle. Look at your big circle, okay? And what I want you to write down is something that you really, really want. And it can be anything at all. It can be something big, it can be something small, but write down specifically what it is. And here are some examples of what you might write down. Money, a soulmate, a successful career, a new job, a promotion, friends, a family, a car, a home, better health, weight loss, better fitness, a great sense of satisfaction. Whatever it is, you're going to make sure that whatever you write in that big circle in the center feels right for you. It's going to feel good. It's going to be something that you want, but it's also going to feel good. When you picture yourself having what you want, it feels good, okay? Now, there is no wrong answer. You can have whatever it is you want, whether it's any of those things I mentioned or something completely different, is totally fine. But again, you have to feel good about wanting it, because this is how you'll be able to change it. So in these, the other outer circles, the ones that are going around, you're going to come up with some beliefs that'll help you get to what you want. And in order for this to work, you'll need to be able to believe these beliefs. So let's say you wrote down money or something like that. You want more money, and so you either put the word money, or you put financial abundance, or you put better finances down in your big circle. And what is something you'll need to believe to cause more money to come to you? So maybe you're thinking, okay, I could get a promotion at my job, or I could get a big raise at my job. Okay, well, that's a good idea. Except maybe there's been a wage freeze at your company, and there's a freeze on all promotions as well. Or maybe you're currently unemployed, so the whole idea of getting money from a job isn't going to work for you. Oops. All right, well, let's look at something else. How about winning the lottery? Okay, well, this one might work if you actually believe that it's possible to win the lottery for you. But many who say that they want to win the lottery don't even play the lottery. I used to be guilty of this. I used to say, man, I want to win the lottery, but did I ever buy a ticket? No, right? So that's not going to work. If you're not willing to at least play it, you're never going to win it, right? That's going to be impossible unless you're willing to play the game. Now, the litmus test to see how winning the lottery feels to you is to see if it feels possible. Because if it just sounds like a pipe dream, and you're not even buying tickets for it, and you're not really interested in playing it, or if you live in a state that's got a really convoluted, like my state has a really lots of different ways to play the lottery, so it's kind of complicated, and it can be fun, but it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it as something confusing and something you don't want to do, or maybe you live in a state where there isn't a lottery, that pretty much nixes that idea for you, right? So if it feels impossible, don't write it down because you don't really believe in it. You don't believe it's possible for you. Now, on the other hand, if you feel this sense of excited anticipation and you already play the lottery, or your spouse or partner does, or whatever, someone who can bring money into your household does, then you could write that one down because you actually do believe it's possible. But let's say that neither of the above examples feel good to you at all, and now you're starting to feel frustrated. You're like, Jeannie, this isn't, that, neither one of those sound good to me. Okay, that's okay. What I want you to do is go more general. Abraham Hicks calls it going general. In NLP, we call this chunking up. It's basically the idea of getting away from the specifics and being much more generalized in your thought process. So this is what you do. What is something you do believe in general about yourself that is evidence of something that is positive in your life? Not even about money, just in general. Okay? So see if this one sounds true. How about, good things have happened to me before? Right? You can believe that because it's true. Good things have happened to you, I'm sure. It may have nothing to do with money, but good things, some kind of good thing at some point has happened to you in your life. So you can write that down. Good things have happened to me before. That can go in one of your little circles. Okay? Or you might be able to write this one. I'm willing to believe that if good things have happened to me in other areas of my life, good things can come to me financially too. You could write that down, right? Because you already have good things in other parts of your life. At least one part of your life. You have something good that has happened. So if you're willing to believe that that good thing that happened in the other part of your life can also spread to the rest of your life, then you're good to go. Write that one down too. You can write down, I'm willing to believe that if good things have happened to me in other areas of my life, good things can come to me financially too. That feels true too, doesn't it? That willingness is so important. You don't have to be absolutely certain about this for it to work. That's the cool thing about law of attraction. As long as you just have this basic willingness to believe that it's possible, then you're already more than halfway there, because that puts you in the right frame of mind to receive. So maybe up till now, you've only ever struggled with money in your life. Maybe you've always struggled with money, and that's been a lot of your problem. But if you're willing to believe that bad luck can change, right? You're on the right track. Now, here's a list of other possibilities that you can put on your list. Now, I borrowed several of these from a talk that Abraham Hicks gave a few years ago, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes, so check that out. But here's some examples that you can write. And they're all going to kind of connect to each other, so just kind of be aware of that as we go along, okay? So you can write these down if they feel right to you. Some ideas will come to me. Some ideas will come to me, right? It'll be fun to watch for these new ideas coming. I love getting inspiration. I love feeling inspired. I believe I create my own reality. It's fun to figure this stuff out. I feel better already just thinking about this. And I've been a good provider. I'm capable of being a good provider. I believe I can expand my beliefs. I like the idea of expanding my beliefs. I'm willing to believe money can come to me in ways I can't even understand yet. This is a fun thing. See how these ideas all build upon each other? See how it's possible to improve your emotional state fairly quickly, no matter what subject you're thinking about? So if you, at the beginning of the exercise, thought of money and you immediately went, you felt yucky, you felt the shitty crappy, right? If that's how you felt when you thought about money, that's because you've struggled with it so much. But by going through that little exercise and saying, oh, I'm willing to believe this, and I know this can be fun, and I know I can figure this out, and I am a good provider, and all those things. I can expand my beliefs. I like expanding my beliefs. I want to expand my beliefs. All those kinds of things. And that most of them were very general until the end, and then it kind of hooked back around to the money part. But it can be very, very general. It can be things that you have proof of already. You already have evidence of it in your life, so that it feels authentic and true to you. Because once it feels authentic and true to you and you can believe it, then all your beliefs can change for a more positive way, no matter what subject you're thinking of. So you can start believing, you can start being willing to believe, well, money can come to me in ways I don't even know about. I don't know how money, there's a million different ways things can happen in this world. I don't know all of them. I'm willing to believe that it can come to me from a source I don't even know about yet. Because it can, right? But you have to believe it can. And it's so cool to change your emotional state from this kind of hesitant, oh yuck, which is what we call resistance. You're resisting that good stuff, and change it into no resistance and into believing, you know what, I think this is true. I think I can make this happen, or I think this can happen. I'm willing to believe that it can happen. I like learning new things. I like figuring things out. I like expanding my mind. I like expanding my ideas, right? If you're willing to go there, then suddenly you can change that in your life. And when you keep the idea of what you want front and center without letting its absence bring you down, then you're on the cusp of creating it in your life. And that is so essential. And that's where so many of us get blocked, is because we want money, or we want that lover, or we want that promotion, or we want whatever it is. But we keep blocking it because all we keep seeing is its absence. We keep seeing that we don't have it yet. And that's where we're blocking it. But if you can just relax, be patient, be very general about, hey, good things have come to me before, so that means I'm willing to believe that good things can come to me in this too. Just being willing to believe, to open that door, to stop blocking yourself. That is how it can happen. And isn't that an exciting thought, right? And now I want to share with you a story of some recent issues I had surrounding the changes I wanted to make to this podcast, because those of you who've been following me know I had a podcast, and I wanted to change it because I discovered over time that I didn't feel like my podcast was doing as well as it could, because it didn't really align with what I was actually teaching. I wasn't really teaching writing. I wasn't teaching about staying at home and writing for a living, which is what my original title sounded like. My original title of my old podcast was Writing in Your Jammies, and that sounds like a writing podcast. It sounds like I'm teaching writing and that I'm teaching you how to stay at home and write for a living, which is cool. But what I kept ending up talking about on my old podcast was law of attraction and spirituality and personal development. And later on, I got into the neuro-linguistic programming, the NLP stuff, and I just started to realize writing in your jammies does not match this at all, is not what I'm talking about. So I need to change it. And so when I realized that, and I realized I wasn't really talking about writing inspiration, and I wasn't talking about what I had named it, I realized I had to change it. So I went through and I repurposed my website and my Facebook page and this podcast to better align with the subject matter that I've always been discussing. And I decided to focus on this podcast now by empowering you to become a more deliberate creator of your life, because you do that through the choices you make on a day-to-day basis. And I can tell from how good that feels to change my philosophy and the name of this and the title to Create Your Empowered Self. That was the correct decision for me, because that's what felt good. I'm going with my intuition. I'm going with what feels right in my heart. And I also decided to become a certified NLP practitioner, so I'd have more tools and techniques to help you. And so that's how CreativeEmpowermentCoach.com and the Create Your Empowered Self podcast and Facebook page were born. Yay, right? Making that decision felt so clear and so good to decide to do that. And I came up with the names and everything was going along fine, and I started to make the changes. But then I hit a snag. And the first one was I couldn't connect to the iTunes podcast page, which is, of course, the main podcast that most of you are probably listening to iTunes right now. That's where most people go through and get their podcasts. And I could not connect for like 2 days straight. I kept trying to connect and kept coming up with the blank page, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't even get to a help or support page to contact him, so I couldn't figure it out. So then right after that, I came down with the stomach flu. That was so fun. Oh yeah, that's awesome, right? So then I was sick and completely stalemated for over a week. And I found this, of course, upsetting because I pride myself on delivering this podcast twice a week to you guys like clockwork. And I just felt bad that I felt like I was letting you guys down and letting myself down. But then as all these things happened to me at once, I began to understand that I really had to let that go because I was trying to force things that clearly weren't working. And having the flu definitely feels shitty crappy, so I just gave up. I gave up on worrying about the podcast. I gave up on worrying about my timetable and my schedule that I was trying to keep. I just gave up on worrying, period, because I was too sick to worry. And I just had to take care of myself. And I did whatever I could to help myself feel better in the moment. So when my back hurt and I had severe chills from my fever, I got a heating pad and laid on it to ease the pain. And I slept for nearly 2 days straight. And once I could eat again, I ate whatever I could keep down and whatever tasted good without thinking about carbs and exercise and all the things that I typically do. Those of you who follow me know I've lost 50 pounds, so diet and exercise, being aware of what's going into my mouth is really important to me. But I was so ill that I didn't even worry about it. Whatever I could eat, I ate and didn't worry about it because I was so ill. And I just relaxed. It kind of forced me to stop. I called out from my day job. I stopped worrying about getting my business going. I stopped worrying about social media and my podcast and my website. I had to stop worrying about all of it because I was too ill to do anything else. And I relaxed and I just let be what was, which was me needing rest. And once I kind of got back on the mend a little bit, I did allow myself to do things that I very rarely, if ever, do. So I went and got a foot massage and pedicure. I kept looking at my toes and thinking how ugly they were. And so I realized you need to do a little bit of loving yourself and take care of yourself. So I went and got a pedicure, and with that comes a foot massage, and that was really nice. And I'd been so sick. It was so nice to have a massage on my feet. I did a little bit of clothes shopping for myself, which is another thing I rarely do. And I did my hair, got my hair done. And for several days, I didn't think about my work or my business at all. And I just concentrated minute by what made me feel better. And once I got up to it, I started walking again. And it's funny because, not for the exercise sake, but just because I felt like maybe it would feel good. And so I did. I went walking and I was amazed with how much better my still kind of semi-queasy stomach felt after I walked. I felt so much better. And who'd have thunk that, right? I mean, when you've really been ill, the last thing a lot of us think about is getting up and doing exercise. But to me, walking is fun, and I wasn't trying to power walk or race walk or jog at all. I just wanted to walk out in nature and see flowers and birds and do that. And so that's what I did, and I felt a lot better doing that. And so by going within myself and allowing myself to do that and letting go of all of my worries, what I did was I allowed myself to open up to new sources of inspiration and allowed new ideas to flow to me. And today, a week after I came down with the flu, I got this idea to try to access my podcast on a different web explorer. And guess what? Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I was connected again. Everything was good. Cool, huh? Right? You just, sometimes ideas that you wouldn't even think of that. I didn't even think about that last week when I was trying to connect and I kept not connecting and couldn't figure it out. Today I was just like, you know what I could do? Instead of doing Internet Explorer, I could just try Chrome. Let me try that. And I did, and it connected immediately, and it was right there. So it's crazy. So now my website is all up and running, and so is this podcast. And it was so easy to do it. It wasn't difficult. I didn't run into any roadblocks today. It just flowed really easily. So when I stopped fighting so hard, it was amazing how simple everything became. And my point is this. Sometimes you just need to ease up on yourself, and you need to let go of the pressure and the stress of what you're doing and let yourself do what you enjoy. Do what's fun. What do you consider fun? And so many of us limit that because we feel guilty. We feel like we're slacking off or we're playing hooky or whatever if we let ourselves have fun or we just take care of ourselves. A lot of us allow ourselves to feel obligated or pressured to do everything for everyone else, and even to ourselves we'll keep pushing and working because we think we have to. We don't have to. We just don't. What you have to do is take care of yourself. And if you really want your life to be beautiful and wonderful, what you have to do is have fun, right? That's really what you need to do, is have more fun and have more joy in your life. Because as soon as I stopped trying to force things, and granted the flu wasn't enjoyable, but it stopped me and it made me see what I was doing and that I was still trying to force it. And as soon as I released those reins, everything flew right into place. Everything I'd been trying to do just happened with no effort, basically. So now I look forward to my future of helping you and having fun in my life and with this business and online and on this podcast with greater anticipation than ever before, because it's fun. And I just have to keep that in my mind, that it's all about the fun. The focus wheel was all about the fun. And this week ultimately was me realizing that I have to relax and be willing to have fun. So have you ever tried the focus wheel exercise before? Or did you try it today or recently and have a result? If you have, please share so we can all learn from your unique experience. Or have you ever given up forcing something just to have it fall in your lap like I did? Share that too. We'd all love to hear from you. So are you still struggling though, even after this? Are you still struggling to understand how all this create your own empowered life stuff works? If you are, then just sign up for a free mini session for me. I've got a link in the show notes, and I would love to help you. I look forward to helping you. So everybody take care. Have an empowered day, week, month, and year. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Create Your Empowered Self podcast. If you've enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please let me know by leaving a review. I upload podcasts every Wednesday and Saturday, so subscribe to receive these regular updates. Now, go out there and live a more empowered life.